What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Off the Top Rope. We are a week away, um, and a lot of big stuff coming up next weekend. Obviously, AEW, WWE. I've been very critical of pretty much all the wrestling that might happen next week because WWE is not bothered to put a lot of effort into, really their events going on next weekend. AEW has put some effort lately, but the build to an event that they've been trying to sell for 6 months, and now they just crossed their biggest North American attendance thing in the history of their promotion. But Tony Khan did an interview very recently with WFAA, and he was basically he was asked about WWE hosting two events. Well, actually, there's three events because there's two events on the same day as All In, and then there's the third event being Evolution on Sunday. And apparently, Tony Khan is unbothered by the counter programming by WWE, which I've been a little bit critical of because look, I was fine with WWE doing it initially, but they counter programmed it basically to just have an event there, and they didn't even bother to build anything. And I've been really critical of Evolution. But anyway, Tony Khan said the following to WFAA. He said, "Well, I think we're going to put on a great event, and we have to focus on putting on the best event we can with the best wrestlers in the world. So that's a lot of fun. So we're going to have a great show next Saturday afternoon, and we're very focused on what AEW is doing and AEW fans, and I think that's served us really well." Okay, so Tony Khan's trying to give off the vibe that he's unbothered by WWE being really in the same window as the as All In Texas. If he really meant that, why did he move the start time of All In Texas to 3 Eastern when it was supposed to be at 8 Eastern? It was supposed to be a nighttime event. And now you're going to be out in the hot baking sun of Texas at 2 p.m. Central Time and 3 p.m. Eastern. And granted, you will avoid all of Saturday night's main events. That's the reason why he moved this, is WWE had something on their Peacock calendar that they were going to have an event on July 12th, which was presumably going to be Saturday night's main event, and that was made true. And Bill Goldberg's going to have his last match against Gunther. That had been revealed. But this went back, the time was moved. It was like March or April, a few months back, and it was really strange. And it was just like, okay, why are you moving off of the time? It's like, if you were unbothered by WWE having an event at the same time as yours, why would you move it? That's my whole thing is, listen, I would have liked, and WWE, their counter move was to put an NXT show literally at the same time in Atlanta at center stage, which is going to have like 1,000 people there, and they're charging an arm and a leg to get in there. And there's really no effort being put into that show. The NXT championship match is, like I said, I love Obafemi, but Inamura from Noah, like there's really no build to that whatsoever. Like, let's be real. Since Stand to Deliver, Obafemi's not had some great challengers, and I feel like they're just kind of window dressing to get to Javon Evans, or whether it's him or it's Ricky Saints, but it's probably not going to be Ethan Page. Like, look, they're just window dressing it in their division and then on top of it, you put your NXT Women's Championship match at Evolution, and now you're throwing Fatal Influence and now you're throwing Fatal Influence against Blake Monroe in her first NXT match and Jordan Grace. And then, there's the TNA contract signing, and they're literally going to have a pay-per-view the next week. So it's good cross promotion there. But WWE really hasn't bothered to even put forth any effort whatsoever into, like, it's just, hey, we've got an event there. Go buy ours over AEW's, which for WWE, that's bad optics as well. But for Tony Khan to say that he's really infer and imply that he is unbothered by, WWE counter programming him, that's a bunch of bullshit. Why'd you move the time? Why'd you move the time? If you were so unbothered with your biggest show of the year that you've had planned for months on that show, or on that weekend, July 12th, that was going back to last year that you've been having this has been announced for 6-9 months that they were going to go to Globe Life Field in Texas. And then all of a sudden, hey, we're going to move this to 2 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Eastern. What are you scared of? If you're unbothered, then prove it. Have it go up against WWE. You think you're going to get killed. And to be honest with you, I'll be honest with you, I'd watch WWE. I can watch both of them at the same time. And, you know, Goldberg and Gunther, I really don't give a shit about. Gunther's a great wrestler. That match doesn't really move the needle for me. And if it was on at the same time as Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada, I would probably watch Omega and Okada. Because at least those two are going to put on a sound wrestling match. Gunther's going to try and get something out of a 58-year-old man. Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre was just announced for the show. They're actually putting together a decent card. It just feels forced. I mean, LA Knight's going to face Seth Rollins at Saturday night's main event, but my whole thing is like reading these comments from Tony Khan. Like it screams to me that, hey, he's just trying to do some damage control here. And basically from the optics of, you know, hey, because listen, if you're going to say that with a straight face, then somebody should follow up with a question saying, hey, why aren't you, if you're unbothered by this, why did you move your time? Because usually AEW starts their shows at 8 p.m. Eastern. Why'd you move it off of 8 p.m. Eastern on a Saturday? Why'd you move that and move it up to earlier in the day? Because listen, you're in Texas. You're not, listen, it's not, you're not in London where it's going to start earlier in the States. There was no reason to move it. The only reason they moved it was because WWE, Saturday night's main event hadn't even been announced and they moved it. They're worried. And listen, nobody looks good in this. WWE does not look good in this whole situation because, listen, if you're going to counter program, at least act like you give a shit. And the one thing in Saturday night's main event that they have even bothered to give any effort to at all is Goldberg and Gunther. And I love Gunther more so than a lot of other people in this community. Goldberg does 3 moves. He was entertaining, but he was very limited, but at least he was explosive. He's 58 years old. The guy's almost 60. This is not Sting in his 60s. Sting in his 60s could still fucking work. We saw that. But why are you moving? Well, first, for WWE's perspective, why are you giving so much time? I understand that it's Goldberg's last match. The average wrestling fan doesn't give a shit about Goldberg. So you're dedicating all your time to that? That's your way of counter-programming AEW? Why'd you have to put it on the same weekend as AEW? And then for AEW, what are you scared of? You're scared of Bill Goldberg outdrawing you? I mean, he's more of a star than a lot of the people in your place, but you know he's probably not going to be wrestling a match for 20 minutes. Like AEW and WWE, like this is going to be a big weekend for wrestling. They both have not done a really good job of making you care about these big time shows. And these shows will probably deliver. But for Tony Khan to say that straight with a straight face on a podcast or on a radio station and say, yeah, you know, I'm unbothered by this. He's done a really good job of being media trained. He's full of shit. He really is full of shit. So, anyway, thanks so much for watching here on the channel. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.